Hello there guys and welcome, it's Niran here and today it is time for yet another episode of FIFA 14 Aston Villa career mode. This time it is going to be episode 29 and today we will be having two friendlies and a huge amount of transfer activity as we get towards the start of the season. Of course we will be playing in the Community Shield this season after winning the FA Cup in Season 1, but the first friendly of this episode will be against Real Madrid. That will be a hugely difficult game, a really tricky one there at the Bernabeu, and the second game will be against Palermo, but I will be simming that as I said last episode, so I'm really sorry about that, but I don't really feel the need to put you through another meaningless game. I'm only playing the Real Madrid one because I'm playing Real Madrid. But we're going to get straight into that game because nothing happened between last episode and this game. So I was going to put out a relatively strong team, but with a few players that I'm slightly undecisive of as to what their role would be, and you'll see the starting 11 that I put out in a minute. Thankfully, Real Madrid are a little bit sympathetic and put out a second team, as you'll also see in a minute. But Zila there, Klein, Corey, Baker and Lowton there at the back. Grenier, Roda, the new signing, of course, from Frankfurt, and Gardner, and then Bakuna and the youngster Neil Maupay will be the wingers, with Christian Benteke up front. But this was going to be a hugely tricky game at the home of Real Madrid. Thankfully they put out a few youngsters, but they did still have some key players playing, including Ramos, Diego Alves, Contrao, and in fact Angel Di Maria. But the first chance of the game created the first goal of the game, and having predicted that this game would be hard was a bit of an understatement, because Denis Cheryshev, one of the younger players in this Real Madrid team, they're celebrating after Jesse Rodriguez set him through, and Jesse Rodriguez was causing me all kinds of problems there. The young Russian beating Zila at the near post. That disappointed me a little bit there after a pretty weak challenge from Baker. But Klein there getting the second chance of the game. It was a pretty poor shot as well. Not really someone you'd want in that position. But having said that, Neil Maupay gives the ball to Bakuna, and Klein finding themselves in acres of space really far forward. And he equalises to make it 1-1 here against Real Madrid. And suddenly we'd scored against Real Madrid. And of all people, it was the right back, Nathaniel Klein, who's probably only scored, I think, 2 goals before today, one of them being a huge deflected goal, I seem to remember. But a nice ball picked out there by Bakuna, pretty similar actually to the one that Jesse Rodriguez picked out. But Real Madrid there, with their relatively young team, they had Isco playing as well, which was a little bit troublesome at times. But right on the verge of half-time, Contrao picks the ball up, really awesome ball over to Casemiro, the defensive midfielder, and yet again, Zila will be disappointed having let that go through his near post, go through his body, and I'm a little bit disappointed as well, because that's 2 goals now that he's let in at his near post. Really great ball though over from Fabio Contrao for Casemiro. Great turn, bit of control as well from the Brazilian youngster in defensive midfield. But another good chance for Real Madrid, this time Angel Di Maria being played through. And a good save though this time from Zila, slightly redeeming himself. But a bad touch there from Roda. Isco gets the ball, and what a finish that is to make it 3-1. Unfortunately, Roda didn't have the most successful of debuts. It wasn't really his competitive debut, of course, as being a friendly, but really it pretty much summed up the midfield. Grenier and Gardner just didn't turn up. I don't think I even noticed them during the game. But Roda did turn up towards the last 20 minutes. But here, Ijana Mendy now set through, and a pretty weak shot, to be honest. I think it was a pretty decent slice of luck that it was Ijana Mendy set through. I thought it was Jesse Rodriguez actually, but a defensive midfielder, the Spaniard signed from Real Sociedad, I think, recently. In a very young team for Real Madrid, but an extremely talented one, and I think in a few seasons that will probably end up being their first team. But here are the ratings for the end of that game. As expected, Zila gets an absolutely horrible rating. So does Grenier and Baker. But the man of the match, in fact, actually going to Leandro Bakuna. Not entirely sure how a player on our team got man of the match, but still, Benteke, they're getting a good rating, as well as Maya, who came off the bench, and Backley too. Now, the Akore saga. We got an offer last episode from Hoffenheim of, I think it was £5 million for Yours Akore. I put a counter offer on for £9 million, and they came back and said we're only willing to put £8 million on the table. So I said again, look, actually no, I want £9 million, not expecting them to go for that. So, you know, I mean, £9 million will be a decent chunk of money there, as we get another counter offer there for Darren Bent. £5.3 million this time, putting on the table for Arsenal to have to pay if they want the striker, who's not really going to be in my plans this season. But Yours Akore, hoping I'm not having to sell him, to be quite honest, because I've already got to buy a centre-back, really, and it just causes a lot more hassle. But going into this Palermo game, then just sorting out the team before I simmed it, here is the team. Zila there, Klein, Akore, Vla and Lowton. Grenier, Max Meyer and Fabian Delph, with Jordan Graham, who really impressed me in the game against Atletico Bilbao, with Bruma and Christian Benteke, and an extremely inexperienced bench. People like Maupay, Bennett, Dwyer, Longo and Yuri Ignatovic there, all on the bench. But we got the lead in the 34th minute thanks to Christian Benteke, yellow card there for Luton, but Vasquez there for Palermo, getting a goal back in the 48th minute, just after half-time to equalise. But Benteke picking up his brace and putting us in the lead again to make it 2-1. And it would go on to finish that way. As you can see, we won the game, our third friendly of the friendly season there. Ignatovic and Mason Bennett also coming off the bench, which is quite nice to see. Youngsters getting a little bit of time out on the pitch. But not an overly, not a pretty good pre-season, to be honest. 2 wins and a loss against a pretty good team. Charles Nzobia there just quickly saying he's a little bit concerned about his place in the team. And then look. Big problems. Big, huge, humongous problems. Hoffenheim have decided to go ahead and match my offer for Juraj Okore. Now, going into this period, I was actually looking to buy a winger. As you can see, I made some inquiries. Lazar Markovic here for £6 million. Adam Ljajic, £29 million price put on him. Filip Juricic there of £9 million. Patrick Herman there of £10 million as well. And then we move on to Fabian Delph, asking for a pay rise, so I offered that to him, a 30 grand a week wage instead. Now, Nathan Ake here, as you can see, I didn't actually realise, but he's actually on the loan list, and I was looking for a centre-back for depth. So I might as well get one for free, who's actually going to be relatively decent. So Nathan Ake made an offer for him on loan from Chelsea. Also a Juricic offer there to Benfica of £8 million. Another winger who came back with a relatively decent price put on his head by his team, and that's Dynamo Moscow's Balazs Shudchak. Also put an £8 million bid in for him. Then we've got an offer made by Reading for Alexander Tonev, another winger who's not really going to be in my plans. A 550 grand offer there made by Reading of the Championship. So I decide to accept that, and he's on his way now to Reading, and he is sold now. Darren Bent will also be on his way out of the club. He's on his way to Arsenal. A few more inquiries made, and that's Insigne of Napoli, £27.5 million. That's a little bit expensive. Samu Castillejo, £8.5 million. Mokhtar of Zvola for £3.3 million. Marko Arnautovic, our old friend, for £8 million. Dusan Tadic for £13 million of FC Twente, and Ibrahim Afellay of £8 million from Barcelona. Now, I went ahead and made a little bit of an offer for Ibrahim Afellay, just underneath what his enquiry price was of £7 million this time, offering for him. Marko Arnautovic, again, our old friend from FIFA 13, signing him for Aston Villa. Make a bid for him as well, playing for Werder Bremen, currently on the old update, and a £7 million bid made for him. Tonev has now been sold, and I get 475 grand worth of that. Some more inquiries there. Vladimir Weiss, Mohamed Salah, and Dries Mertens. Salah really the only person in my price range. And just quickly going back to Patrick Herman, a little bit of an optimistic bid there of £8 million, just a couple of million underneath the value that Borussia Mönchengladbach set for him. I do, however, then get an offer for Mason Bennett on loan from Gillingham, which is nice to see because a lot of the loan players I put up haven't really been getting loaned out, and I would like to see that because it increases their growth, really, as a player. So it's good to see him going out on loan. But as you can see, Dynamo Moscow decided to reject my £8 million offer, I do believe it was, for Balazs Shudchak, and say they want £12 million. However, my bid for Filip Juricic, the Serbian left winger, is accepted of £8 million, and what a player. He looks like 85 potential, that guy, and I could be getting for £8 million. I'm going to wait just and assess my options in terms of the other wingers that have offers accepted. But here, as you can see, just accepting, just finalising the deal there for Nathan. Okay, I had to speed out because I went to do something. But nevertheless, just have a look here. Sorry about that. At the squad reports, a bit of growth made there from Grenier and Baker and Klein in certain aspects, and Max Meyer there in terms of the mental attributes. Ron Robert Zieler there, staying at 79 stat as well. Jordan Graham going up a stat, having asked to play in the Atletico Bilbao game. Christian Benteke there also going up a stat to 83, as well as Ignatovic going up some stats in the technical, and Luca Longo going up pretty much everywhere. Dwyer also going up a stat to 65 stat, the 16-year-old there. Then we've got Neil Maupay, not really making the progress I would have liked from OGC Nice after I signed him last January. Sebastian Roda there also making a little bit of an impact in terms of growth, despite only joining last month. Nathan Ake there, my new attribute, my new signing there, the centre-back for depth. Got him, and he's 70 stat. Backley also up a stat there to 77. Caruthers and Seagrass staying status quo. And then we've got Bakuna and Gardner up to 73. Westwood there staying at 74, followed by Nathan Delfonso there at 70 stat. Then we've got Graham Burke and the rest of some of the young players, Kieran Clark here, as well as Gabriel Agbonlahor. Daniel Johnson going up a stat whilst out on loan to Yeovil. Bennett as well going up, as well as Stevens, Bowery and Jack Grealish. So all of those guys out on loan going up a stat, which is really what I like to see. Now here, confirmation that I am a retard, basically. I've sold Juraj Okore. I needed a new centre-back, so what did I go and do? I sold one of my already established centre-backs. Well, it's a huge blunder from myself, and I'm hoping, you know, my apology is enough, because it's just stupid. I've got 7.5 million from it. I sold him for £9 million to Hoffenheim, but I get 7.5 million back. There are some players that I can buy to replace Yoro Zakore, but his potential was so high that it might be quite hard to find a player with that type of potential. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. That's two really influential players from last year sold, and being Weimann and Okore, and also Van Ginkel going back to Chelsea. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Career Mode. Like and subscribe if you did, and comment about enjoying it if you enjoyed it that much. It's a bit disappointing that I've had to sell Yoro Zakore because he was arguably one of the best defenders last season, but I hope you have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye. You know what this is time for? It's time for analysis time. It says anal.